Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn, and this is the reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury for March. First things first, please go ahead and like the video, share the video with a friend or someone that you feel that could benefit from the message that might be received here today, but also share your thoughts and your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. Okay, so now that we've gotten through all of that preliminary stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Lover's card. Now, the Lover's card is the tarot card for the year. When you add 222, you get 6, which is the Lover's card. And that's the energy that we're going to be really focusing on a lot this year. Also, the Lover's card is ruled by the astrological sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, which is about communication. So, a lot of these readings this year, I'm kind of seeing like a theme surrounding connections with people. And it doesn't have to necessarily be love. It can be a partnership or building relationships just in general with people. And there seems to be a little bit of a fracture in the way that we communicate with the people that we are trying to build these connections and relationships with. And it's the reason why these relationships aren't maturing or turning into something more than what we actually desire. It's really about the connection. This particular card, if you look at it very carefully, all the elements are here. There's fire with the sun up above the angel. There is wind with the clouds directly underneath the angel. There is earth at their feet, the plants, the tree that's standing to the right of the man. And also water, which is, you can see the blue in the card, which is a symbol for water, like those watery type of elements. But also there's the open affection between the man and the woman in the card. That is emotion, which is usually what the cups represent, but also it represents water. And so what this card is saying, in addition to the other reading that I've already done about it, this card is also just talking about balance in relationships, right? Balance in the way that you communicate, in the way that you handle, in the way that you deal with someone, but not just that, balance within yourself. And so this energy is kind of playing out in a way this year where it's like we have to get to that place of balance. That's the energy that we need to be working with and working through this year, which is an indication that the energy is off balance. And so when it's off balance, there is an abundance of fire or an abundance of water or an abundance of air or abundance of earth. And all those elements have really positive attributes to them. But when there's an overabundance of something, there is the inability to really grow beyond the overpowering energy that is present in that particular element, right? So for water, when there's an overabundance of water, we have an overabundance of emotions. We have a lot of manipulation. We have just a general not being able to handle the way that we feel or being able to transmute the negative thoughts that we have into positive ones that will then ultimately influence our actions. So I feel like for a lot of us this year, this is the energy that we're working with being too emotionally caught up or too emotionally wrapped up in things that don't necessarily feed you directly, right? That can mean that you are too emotionally caught up in a relationship that isn't giving you equally what you desire back. And so you're giving a lot of your energy or your emotion to something or someone, and you're not getting that reciprocal type of energy, which is crazy, right? That's just crazy. The element of balance, the element here with the twos, also the Two of Cups, is about equal give and take, equal attention, equal interaction, and not just in a way that is a monetary way, in a way that is valued by you. It's what you truly need. It's what you truly desire. So there has to be an equal element of give and take between two people, within a group, in order for that to, to be strong and to be able to grow and to build and to be sustained. But when there's an imbalance of water, also, there's also the potential to withhold emotion, to kind of measure or mete it out, in a basis that is beneficial to you, or the way that you feel like it's beneficial to you, to mete it out in small doses, because you're not really trusting the people that you're giving that emotion to with that emotion. And so you're trying to test the waters by slowly eking it out to them, and hoping that they'll give you what it is that you feel like you need to see in order for you to give more. So it's like a measured type of giving, right? And so ultimately, those are two of the factors, but those are similar to, the actions that happens when, there's an abundance of water and it's not being handled or dealt with in a proper way. So there's a lot of like deep type of healing that needs to happen in order to sort through the reasons why you are in a state of being overabundant with water, right? And how to kind of like heal and process whatever emotion it is that's kind of holding you a little bit hostage to being able to be in your natural state and to flow and to be at ease with all the elements and the parts of yourself. Because honestly, if you can't be at peace with the elements of within yourself, it's going to be hard for anyone else to be at peace with those elements outside of you, or anyone else having to deal with that. So that's just something to think about. So there's a lot of that energy kind of like floating around. The feeling that I get from this is really just a need to be able to channel your water. And this is something that's been coming to me like in my meditations, and just in my thoughts, is about the power of channeled water is freaking amazing, right? If you are able to challenge the currents of water, you can produce electricity. And that just isn't in the sense of like, just with hydrotherapy, but like even with you, if you can control and learn how to channel your water, you generate so much magnetism that you're low-key irresistible, right? And I feel like using the elements that you have in an overabundance and channeling it in a different way can really produce really good outcomes, right? I mean, if you think about a waterfall, if you think about the fact that water can literally create a passage for itself through the earth, so that it can flow the way that it wants to. I mean, these are some really amazing and strong type energy, right? Like this is some strong stuff. So if you were able to channel your water, I feel like you would be really surprised at the things that you can create in your life, and the things that you can do with your energy, and your emotion, really, if you use it by connecting two elements together. So pairing your water energy with like air. So tapping into that Mercury type vibe that I was talking about earlier, and being able to communicate the way that you feel, right? So telling people that you love them and that you care about them, and not being afraid to say those things, right? Not trying to avoid being able to verbalize the way that you feel is really a good way to kind of channel that energy. If you love someone, tell them you love them. If you miss them, tell them that you miss them, right? So you talk about the way that you feel. But also, if you feel like somebody did some stuff to you that you don't particularly care for, you need to tell them. You need to open up your mouth and explain, and tell them what it is that they did to you that have you feeling some type of way. Because like I said, water is powerful, and so is the energy that comes off of water. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you have really strong energy. And so oftentimes when you come in touch with a Pisces person who is feeling some sort of way about something, especially if it's a negative feeling, that comes off of you guys in waves. I don't know if everybody feels it as strongly as I do. No, I'm not going to say that. I know other people who feel it also, but it comes off very strong. And I don't even think you guys realize it, to be perfectly honest. I think you're just got to like so in your head about whatever it is that you're thinking about. You don't realize that sometimes that off throw, that off put is strong, and people can sense it and they can pick it up. And like I said, especially if you're in a bad mood, it makes people kind of want to stay away from you because the energy is so strong, and it's like you don't really know what it's about, right? So being able to verbalize what it's about can help, right? There's also the idea of pouring your emotion into your passion and your creativities, writing, music, whatever it is that you are passionate about, like a spare a pastime that you do, channeling your emotion into that and using your emotions, whatever it is, good or bad, to feed any type of creative ventures that you have. I feel like that will benefit a lot. And so that's tapping into like the fire element. So what I'm talking about is really just using your water and mixing it with another type of element to help bring you to balance. A lot of you will be dreaming a lot. A lot of you will be getting some intuitive messages. You might be really going through an emotional period, crying, having like a little bit of like an uprooting, a little bit of turbulent waters in you during this Pisces season, and that is completely okay. What you want to do is ground that type of energy. So I would suggest using that energy to grow something, to build something, to start a garden, to start a project again with the fire energy, but also to use that to grow an aspect of yourself or of your healing that you've kind of been putting off, right? So if you're dreaming about some stuff, write down all your dreams, first of all. Keep a track of them, keep a journal of them, keep a journal of your thoughts, keep a journal of your feelings, write that down. And if you feel so inclined, share that writing with other people. Not everything, obviously, but like pieces of it, snippets of it. I'm sharing it with other people and using it to kind of ground you down and being able to look back at the things that you've written and to kind of like see some of your processes, see some of your patterns, see some of the things that you are dealing with that you then can potentially turn into an opportunity to heal it, because now that it's out and you can see it on paper, and when you're writing from a very raw place, all the honesty will come forward. And so you can use that later as a guide to help you be grounded and to heal. So that was just some of the stuff that was coming up that I just wanted to share with you. So I wanted to talk about that before I actually get into the reading. Happy birthday, Pisces. I hope you have a fabulous birthday. And I hope that this reading helps. Okay, so today we're working with the Celtic Cross spread, and the card that came out in the position of your current circumstances is the Devil card. The Devil card is a card that usually talks about like addictions, talking about like, like your dark parts of yourself, like the shadow parts. And so this can be something like a behavior or a mechanism, a coping mechanism that you kind of like step into when you're going through a particularly rough period in your life. Or this can be just you kind of like stepping into a space where you're employing like, negative traits or behaviors. So this could be anything from like, just eating poorly, right? And just reverting back to eating poorly, because this is like a card that really kind of talks about a little bit of a cycle. So if this is where you're at right now, it's like you're kind of sliding into like the space where you're kind of stepping into using like negative patterns or negative behaviors to kind of like deal with the current situation. So you could be, like I said, you could be overeating, you could be drinking a lot, you could be smoking a lot, using like different coping mechanisms to deal with any type of darkness, or really just kind of dealing with like your shadow side, maybe handling a situation in not the best way, or not really presenting yourself in the best way in a particular situation. For some of you, this could mean that you are dealing with a Capricorn, or you could have Capricorn in your chart. Only you would know that. So, just apply that as you see fit. What is crossing you is the Queen of Swords, and that is in the reverse. So interestingly enough, with this particular rendition of the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Swords, there is a cup. I don't know if you can see it on the base of the card. Underneath where this individual is sitting is a cup. And so it's interesting because, cups is like a suit that is a representative of water. And to me, when I see this card, it's an indication to me that your speech and the way that you're communicating with someone is a little bit harsh. And it's coming from a space of feeling hurt, right? So the cup is of emotion. So due to the nature of the emotion that you feel towards this particular person or situation, you might be kind of like speaking in like a really harsh way. You might be coming across as being a little bit bitchy. Or if this is not you, this is an interaction that you're having with someone who could potentially be an air sign. So we're talking about Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, right? And the reason why they're talking to you in the way that they're talking to you is really due to them being hurt, or there's an emotional dynamic attached to the way that they're speaking to you. And so they're kind of, it's a potential for them to be lashing out at you or speaking to you in a way due to them being hurt. If this is not someone else, then this is you. You are doing this, right? So you are potentially, sorry about that, my alarm is going off. You are potentially talking to someone in a way that's a little bit harsh, a little bit stern. Your communication with them is a little bit tense, and that is probably due to, like I said, to the fact that you are emotional about something, or you're hurt by something that was done. This actually kind of goes back to the channeled message that I was talking about before, in terms of speaking the way that you feel about certain things. But not speaking it in a way where you're coming across like, really antagonistic, or just being just very angry or lashing out at someone, but really just taking the time and opportunity to kind of explain the way that you feel about something, and, being verbal about that, clearing out that throat chakra and just speaking your truth, right? The Queen of Swords in reverse is also an element of something not necessarily being truthful to you. You might not be being truthful with what you're saying. You might be a little bit unclear in your communication, or this can be someone else who is being unclear with you in their communication. And so I wanted to pull some clarifiers for that. The clarification for the Devil card is the Bouquet, and also the Lily card, right? So there's an aspect here. This is like a sexual relationship, right? This is like a sexual type of situation. And so when we're combining those cards, we're talking about a sexual relationship that has a little bit of like a shadow attached to it. So either it's like an illicit affair, or there's just some things that you're doing sexually that is a little bit outside of the norm, and that there's like a idea here where there's like a issue with like morality. When we see the Lily card, and also this is the Lenormand deck I'm using for clarification. So the Lily card is really talking about looking at two faces of a thing, right? So someone could be showing themselves to you in one way, but there's like a face, or there's a side of them or aspect of them that they are not showing to you, that they're not revealing to you. This card is attached to what's called like the Madonna whore complex, and it's like a struggle with like your femininity, and also walking that line between what's considered passion, what's considered sensual, what's considered sexy and erotic, but also what's innocent and what's gentle. And so it's like you're kind of straddling the fence here, but really kind of dipping more towards the horse side, as opposed to the Madonna side. Don't take it quite literally. But whenever you see this card, there's also this element of, are you familiar with who it is that you're dealing with? Do you know all the sides to them? Is this a relationship that has like no strings attached? And now there are strings attached, or you might think that there are no strings attached, but there are strings attached. So there's an element of there's something underneath the surface of this dynamic. And again, like I said, you could be dealing with a Capricorn in this particular situation. And so there's like an element here of being pure and good, with the little finger quotations, good, and being bad, and really kind of dealing with what is virtuous and what is true and what is moral and what the intentions are. And so you have to kind of look at the intentions, like, is your intention to have no strings attached, or is this your intention to have strings attached? Either way, it's like the truth is not being really revealed or talked about in this dynamic, right? And so there's like an element of acting out in like a shadowy type of way where someone is not necessarily being 100% truthful and clear. And with the Queen of Swords in reverse showing up, there's definitely a sense here that the communication is being purposely withheld, and not necessarily giving clarity, but that might be done on purpose, right? The clarification for the Queen of Swords in reverse is the Cross card and also the Tower card. The Cross card, again, is also going back to this idea of what is right and what is wrong, right? It's the idea of having some sort of like authoritative figure in your life, especially with the Tower card here. So the Tower card in here is really a sense of feeling removed from something. There's a little bit of a distance, and a little bit of boundaries. This might be attached to you. This could be attached to someone else. Like I said, there is a air sign person here, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra attached to this dynamic. And so you might be feeling a little bit isolated from this person. They kind of like, it's like a push or pull type dynamic, right? So there's like a little bit of a struggle for like power and authority going on here. This could be someone that works in government or works, in an official type capacity, right? And so there's like a sense that it's like this person or this boundary that they've created around themselves kind of feels like it's impenetrable, like you can't get through to them, or they feel like they can't get through to you. The Tower card is also a talk about like the inner mysteries or being mysterious. And so this person might be kind of like mysterious to you, and you kind of like you're intrigued by them. But the Tower card could also mean that you feel like you might have to protect yourself or build up some type of fortress against some type of incoming attack. So this could also be like a spiritual attack with a Devil card here. If you if you are involved in spiritual work, you might want to protect yourself against spiritual attacks, or you might be doing spiritual attacks against someone else. And so there's also this idea, though, that when you are kind of like bracing yourself or kind of trying to protect yourself, you actually cultivate like a sense of protection to the point of loneliness, right? And sometimes that loneliness kind of secludes us from the things that we actually want, because it's like, you're self-protecting yourself. So the question here is, is there a better way to do this? What are you protecting yourself from? And are you still trying to tangle with something that you're trying to protect yourself from? Because with the Devil card here, it looks like you're actively participating in this action, or someone is actively participating in this action against you. So, you know who you are in the story and how this plays out. Also, you want to be careful about being arrogant, right? Especially in the way that you are speaking, especially in the way that you're communicating with other people. I do get the sense here that this is like a sense of authority with the Tower card and also the Cross card. And so just be mindful of coming across as a little bit arrogant with a lot of ego attached, because you feel like you are in a position of power, or you are untouchable, or you're protected. So those are things to kind of like think about You don't want to create a dynamic where you are completely secluded, which in turn creates a feeling of loneliness, and which will eventually cause you to suffer as a result, right? There's like a little bit of a sense of carrying like the weight of this authority, or the way that you're navigating or acting as an authority, that actually creates more of a burden on you than is necessary. In the past, the card that is indicating the past of the situation is the Seven of Wands. And so this is really talking about, again, like this defensive type of energy, which actually kind of falls in line with the Tower card, and like, what we're just talking about with the Tower card, right? Um, so this energy is like coming out of feeling like you have to protect yourself at all costs, really just dealing with a lot of external pressures that's kind of have you feeling a little bit stressed out and overwhelmed and tired, right? In the seven of wands in the traditional Rider-Waite deck is showing someone who is defending themselves again in a battle, right? And so in the past, that is kind of like the energy that you're coming out of, but I feel like you're still in that energetic space. So this has been going on for a while. Just feeling like very defensive, feeling like you have to stand your ground, feeling like, you have to like defend your boundaries. Again, like I said, you're for defending yourself, defending what you believe in, kind of like feeling like you need to, stand in your truth, and be persistent about, what you feel, and be determined to kind of, to confront those or deal with those who you feel have wronged you in any way. But at the same time, you're also feeling a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit exhausted of the energy that is kind of going into this defense mode that you're dealing with. So I feel like with this card, it's like really a sense of you feeling a little bit vulnerable, and feeling a little bit inadequate. Maybe your confidence has been affected in some sort of way, and then you're trying to really like rebuild your faith, and so what you're doing is really trying to set out to kind of build up your self-esteem and to build your confidence, and believe that whatever it is that you're trying to defend and stand your ground on is real and true, and it's necessary for you to do this. So the question is, what is it that you're fighting for, right? You don't like, you can't fight every battle. So you want to reserve your energy to fight the battles for things that are really worth it to you, or that really have like a huge impact on your life. So just that is just something to consider. But the question is, like I said, are you fighting for something that you believe in? Is what you're fighting for worth it? Because like I said, I do get the sense that you feel like overwhelmed, and tired, and just, very defensive all the time. And this has been going on for a while. So these are questions to potentially ask yourself. In the present, there is this, the Four of Cups is what's representing your present, and the best that you're doing right now. And really, it looks like, if you look at this card, this person is like really in a state of like daydreaming, daydreaming about family, daydreaming about a foundation, daydreaming about having all the things that they want in life. And so in this card, we have this a cup that is being offered that this individual is not seeing. And so I feel like in the space where you're at right now, where you're really like in a defensive mode, I feel like there are opportunities, or situations that are being offered to you. They might not be wrapped in the wrapping that you would want them to be wrapped in, but it is something that's being offered to you that you aren't necessarily paying attention to, because you're too busy looking back at the past, Or again, like I said, being defensive, and really kind of like carrying a lot of the things that have happened from the past into the future. Like I said before, with the card that came out in the past position, this is something that's been going on for a while. And so I feel like your focus is on that as opposed to what is actually being offered to you, even though what it is that you desire is being offered to you. I think you just don't necessarily see it. What is subconsciously happening here, or what is at the subconscious of the situation, is being represented by the King of Wands. And so when the King of Wands is showing up in the reverse, it's really kind of talking about so you might be in a situation where, like, if this is like a job that you are like actively trying to get, right, or that you're really focused on at this time, are you ready for that job? It's really about tempering your expectations and to be mindful of not to have like an overinflated sense of what can happen, right? So you want to be realistic in your expectations about certain things. I feel like this is when this card shows up, it's talking about wanting to be in a certain position, a leadership position, a position of power, but not necessarily being ready for that position. And so this can actually go across the board for other things too, like wanting to be in a relationship but not really being ready to be in a relationship, or wanting something in your life, or feeling like you deserve something in your life but you're not actually ready for it, because at the end of it all there is like a lot of things that you need to do to prepare, like with the Devil card that was there earlier, in what's your current situation, that there are some other things that you need to focus in before you can step into the place that you want to be in, right? And so you want to make sure that you're working towards the goals that you want, and you're working towards the vision that you have for yourself and the things that you're like actively daydreaming about. But you want to make sure that you are aware of the way that you're navigating towards this, because when this card shows up, you can be coming off as being a little bit aggressive, being a little bit arrogant. And that came up earlier also, to be mindful of your ego and your arrogance when you're talking to people or when you're dealing with people. Be mindful of the way that you speak to them. The lion is in the background of this card. And the lion is like, a representative to me personally of the strength card, which is really dealing with the way that you speak to people. I think the way that you talk to people can maybe come off-putting, or you might be in a situation where you have someone that is in a position of power that you have to report to that does this. They're arrogant, or they come off like really egotistical, and it kind of like takes away from them and their leadership ability, because they don't know how to talk to nobody, right? Or they're in a position of power and they shouldn't be in that position of power. So this could be you, this could be someone else. This, like, the King of Wands is like a fire sign. So it could be a Leo, a Sag, or an Aries individual that's outside of you, or this could be elements that are in your chart. So take it as you need it. When you see the King of Wands, it's really about like unrealistic expectations, right? For yourself and for other people. I think there is like the idea here that it's time to really sit and really look at the aspects of yourself that might be kind of blocking you from moving forward, or blocking you from your potential, because you're not necessarily seeing the way that you're interacting with other people. It might be coming across kind of crazy, and so you want to be mindful of that. You also want to be mindful of just setting unrealistic goals and having unrealistic expectations. And also being mindful of not buying into other people's unrealistic goals. Don't let anybody sell you a lemon. Don't let anybody sell you a dream. Don't let anybody tell you that they can do something that they can't do, right? So be mindful of that. You want to make sure that you are focused on your own personal goals and the direction that you want to go in. And so having some authority over your life and over your energy and over your actions. The clarification for the King of Wands in reverse is the Anchor card and the Mice card, the Mouse card. And so these two cards together is really indicating like a deterioration of a relationship, or deterioration of something that you considered secure or stable. So it's like you really need to take a look at what's going on around you, because there might be a relationship or a situation with something that provides you security, provides you stability, that is kind of eroding, and I don't think you realize it, right? So the Mouse card also really talks about even just looking at yourself internally. So are there things that are slowly kind of like eating away at you? And is it worth it? Like, is it worth the energy and the focus? And again, I feel like that keeps coming up. This also is a representative of corrupt actions and corrupt motivations, like like corruption in government, or corruption with someone that's in a position of power, or someone using their position of power in a corrupt way. And so again, this could either be you, or this could be this King of Wands individual. Like I said, there's this element of someone having two faces, and I don't necessarily think you see them for who they are, or you might be presenting yourself in one way and really operating in a different way behind closed doors. So there is this idea here with the Mouse card that the force and the strength and the stability and is slowly deteriorating, and so that is something to be mindful of. The card in the position of the near future, or what your next move is the Three of Pentacles in the upright. And so if this is a situation where you are trying to be in a position of power and you're not necessarily prepared for it, this will be a good time to kind of like try to learn as much about this position as you possibly can, studying under the person, kind of like taking like an internship role so that you can kind of learn more, collaborating and working with other people who might understand how to do the work or do the work already, so that you could potentially learn from them. Some of you, if this is like a situation in terms of like a relationship, you might find that the deterioration of the relationship is going to cause like a little bit of a third party situation, right? But there's also the idea of working with someone else in order to kind of like get out of the situation. So what we're talking about is like the devil energy. We're talking about bad habits. We're talking about addictions. So you might potentially want to work with a therapist. You might want to work with a counselor to kind of like navigate some of the issues attached to like your habits, and the way that you are, kind of coping or dealing with them. And really just to kind of be clear about the position that you want to employ. And moving forward, working with someone else, whether it be like a medical professional, going to the doctor, getting yourself checked out to make sure that you're healthy, talking to someone, like I said, like a mental therapist, or dealing with someone in the mental health profession would be good also. And for some of you, this is like dealing with, like I said, like someone who can mentor you in moving forward. And for others of you, this could also be like dealing with a spiritual healer to kind of like help you, work with you to help you kind of like navigate, a little bit of the darkness that you're going through, dealing with a little bit of the loneliness. Also, like I said, speaking to a therapist or speaking to a friend, really just asking for help. I feel like that is something that is going to be needed right now, to help you kind of like navigate out of like feeling like you're lonely, or unnecessarily suffering out of loneliness. The card that came out in the position of how you see yourself and what you can do is being represented here by the Hermit in reverse. So you're like really you're in a space where you want to kind of come out of being secluded and being, kind of like shielding yourself or, being away from people for like obviously like a long period of time. I feel like you're ready to kind of come out of that hermit mode. I feel like you're ready to be outside. You're ready to be out of the house. You're ready for all these things, like the success, and you're ready for the relationship, and you're ready for all those things right now. And I feel like the way that you see yourself is you feel like you're kind of like stuck in hermit mode, even though you want to be able to navigate out of that. And for some of you, this card is looking at like the Three of Pentacles. So I feel like for some of you, you kind of want to be out of the situation where if you are dealing with a person that is a part of a three-party situation, you want to come out of that. I feel like you're like the third person, like the third person in this relationship. And I feel like you want to come out of that and you want to be done with that. In your environment, the card that came out is the Two of Wands in reverse. And so again, there is like this energy here of like a longing, of a desire, of making plans, and really trying to figure out your next step and your next moves. But this girl, she's on the inside of the house looking out. And I feel like you have kind of secluded yourself in a way where now it's like you're really feeling the need and the desire to kind of like move forward and make your next steps, and try to, like I said, get outside and step out of feeling lonely or feeling secluded or kind of like bricking yourself in. I get like this image of you feeling like whatever it is that you've done, you've kind of created a block for yourself and you kind of bricked yourself in and you want out of that. But accompanied with that desire to be out of that is a fear, like a fear of the unknown, a fear of what is the next step forward. So in order to kind of like get yourself out of this, I feel like you need to really institute a plan about how you want to move forward, and make sure that your steps and your actions align with like your inner truth and your inner feelings and your own personal goals. I feel like those things need to be aligned for this to work. But again, you want to be careful because like the Devil card is here. You do want to be careful about feeding into your negative thoughts, negative actions. You kind of want to navigate away from that because right now that's where you're at. And that is actually attributing to your feelings of feeling stuck and being unable to move forward. So if you want to be able to seize the opportunity to move forward, I feel like there's a lot of things that you need to work out. Like again, I was saying before with the channeling is to kind of like redirect your energy into a different space, into a positive space, and try to blend the elements of water along with other things to help you heal and to help you grow and to ultimately help you come outside and kind of release yourself from like this prison that you're kind of like blocked into. The hope and fears card is being represented here by the Nine of Wands. And so the fear is, like I said, of going through the same situation again and being hurt. With the Nine of Wands, this person has come through like a battle. They've come through like a really rough patch in their life. And so they're guarded and they're defensive. And I feel like the hope is to not be in that situation again, or to be in a situation where you end up feeling the same things you're feeling now, or to kind of like go through like another rough patch. So while you want to step out of where you're at, it's like there's like a fear of doing that and then unintentionally ending up in the same place that you were in before. So I feel like you're trying to do that and avoid that at all costs. At the end, the final outcome is the Four of Wands. And so the Four of Wands is really like a celebration, right? The card, the Four of Wands, is really about stability. It's about family. It's about kind of like enjoying your life and celebrating like the major parts of life. So weddings, graduations, just major events in life. And so the final outcome in this situation, in this equation, is that you will be in a space where you have the foundation that you want, you have the foundation that you need, and you're going to be celebrating with family and friends, the major happenings in your life. But in order to get to that space, there has to be the time to kind of really sit and evaluate what is going on in your life, the defense mechanisms that you have kind of like picked up along the way to deal with heartbreaks or things that have gone wrong, and really just trying to like work through them and try to kind of like let those defense mechanisms go so that you could step into the next chapter of your best life. Okay, so I'm going to pull an advice card for you guys. The card that came out as the advice card for you guys is Magic Guardian. Unlock the magic within. Stop looking outside yourself and recognize that you have incredible power within. Magic, with a K, is the energy of the universe that allows you to manifest and create through the direction and power of your will. It changes according to your frequency. The Magic Guardian is a representation of the angel of magic who helps you direct your will to bring something into creation. She is the angel who swirls around shamans and wise ones when they are calling on the energy of magic to help them manifest something that will be healing and supportive of their path. She is the angel of all magic that is directed for the highest good of whoever is working with it. You are the magic. You are the answer. You have it all within you. If you've been searching for an answer or a reason to focus, recognize that all that you are looking for is already within you. You are a powerful and magical person with the capacity to direct your intentions and will your desires into being. But your power can only be powerful when you own it. So take time to acknowledge it. Your ability to dedicate yourself to a goal and make it happen is a real gift that you are being guided to recognize now. So of course, like I said, was saying earlier to you, it's really about you focusing and channeling your energy into, like I said, working with another element to kind of like balance yourself out. But it's really about the focus, and it's really about the energy that you're putting into something. Again, like I said earlier, you can really do anything you want if you kind of like channel your energy. So that is the end of the reading for you guys this month. I hope that you got a little bit out of this, and I hope that this really resonated with you. Drop me a comment below and let me know how this is like kind of like working out in your life right now. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for post notifications, share the video with a friend, and I will see you soon. Bye.